Hello.
Hi, yes, we're doing a stream today. Sorry, I missed your call, my bad.
We're doing it at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, 8 o'clock your time, 7 o'clock my time. I'm just playing the music right now, so we're going to be talking about Danilo and Invest 97p.
So just me and you?
It's me and you today. What's his name? I don't think it's here.
Sebastian is in.
Yeah. He isn't able to do that.
Okay. So what do you think about the 2021 season? I honestly feel very Gulf. I honestly feel very Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, I've been feeling that for a while now.
I don't know, I just feel like they're the bound area to get impacted next year.
It's not going to be that great.
I very much have weird vibes from 2021, like, I don't know, it just feels kind of, weird.
Yeah. Not good.
I really have a feeling about the Gulf of Mexico, the Western Caribbean as well, but really it's been the Gulf of Mexico recently.
Yeah, I get that too. Gulf of Mexico is going to be rough. We'll talk about Danilo.
I have a feeling.
I was just saying we're going to talk about Tropical Storm Danilo and Invest 97p today.
We're not going to talk about 2021 anything.
Yeah, we can.
This is your cyclone update and your cyclone seasonal forecast update provided by the Hurricane Watch team.
We have just one time only.
Okay, one time. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Hurricane Watch team is here with your latest update on the tropics. Today, we're going to be talking about Tropical Storm Danilo, Invest 97p, and the 2021 North Atlantic hurricane season. I do want to start off with the Tropical Storm Danilo. Air pressure has dropped down to 989 millibars. Wind still around 50 miles per hour, 45 knots. It still poses some kind of a threat towards the countries of Mauritius and surrounding islands. This is the latest as of January 3rd, 2021 at 00 UTC. We are going to go to, I forgot to pull it up, the Mauritius Mauritius Meteorological Services, and talk about the warnings, or not the warnings, but again, we're going to be definitely talking about the system and how it could be affecting this country in the next several days. So, I don't know. Okay, this is still January 2nd. I don't know if this is the latest update from there. Do you know how often they update their website?
Me?
Yeah, do you know how often Mauritius updates their website? Their government website?
Idea.
Oh, darn. Because I don't know if this is the same thing or not. I mean, it looks very similar. It says Saturday, January 2nd. Isn't it the 3rd? I think it's the 3rd over there.
It's the 3rd already.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, because I know that at 00 UTC, I think UTC is west of them, because I know that England is at 0 UTC, and that's west of them. So, it's probably like 2 or 3 in the morning their time, something like that. 4.
I know they're more than 4. I know they're more than 4 hours. I know they're more than 4 hours ahead of us.
Yeah,
That's what I know. Maybe they're like 5 or 6. No, I think more than that, like 8.
something like that. It's crazy because I know Northern Australia is 8. No, I think Northern Australia is like 15 hours ahead of us or something like that.
14, 15.
14 or 15 hours. And then I think New Zealand's like 18 hours ahead of us. It's crazy. Anyway, this is the latest. It does say, again, still what I want to point out is the final trajectory of Danilo is still uncertain. And so we don't know exactly where it's going to go exactly. We don't know its intensity.
Or even if it's going to impact Mauritius.
Exactly. We don't know if it's going to impact it. But we know that Danilo's, it has the highest chance of impacting that area. Because I think that's the biggest country to its track, I think. And that's why I'm talking about it, because it's really close to the track. And regardless of, impact, there will still be swells. Even if you don't get tropical storm force winds or extreme heavy rain or gusty winds, there are still going to be swells. So if you're, swimming in the ocean, in the Southwest Indian Ocean, it's going to be rough because there's going to be swells, and so there's going to be rip current, and you could be pulled under, and that will kill you. So a lot of people are very ignorant, and they don't realize that even if a storm is 400 to 500 miles off the coast, they don't realize that it can still bring rip currents and it still kills people. So just please be careful. Please stay out of the water at this time. So
the latest Joint Typhoon Warning Center map has Danilo becoming 70 knots. That's what their latest forecast is, and then doing a westward trajectory. And this is as of their graphic for the 7th of January and 18Z at that time. That's what their forecast position is for, 70 knots on the 7th of January, UTC. And then right now it seems like we're doing a loop-de-loop with Danilo because it's interacting with another invest right now that's out there, 93S. And I don't think 93S looks that great, but I think the MFR has actually tagged it as a depression.
Yeah, actually,
a couple of days ago.
Yeah, a couple of days ago. The Joint Typhoon Warning Center does show this strengthening a little bit more, then weakening down to 40 knots, and then going through what looks like rapid strengthening from 40 to 45 to 55, then quickly up to 70 knots. So it does look like that the water that it's going to be entering later down the road is going to be very, very warm, because right now it does show. Okay, so the current distance is about 280 nautical miles from Diego Garcia, which is just to its north, I believe. Diego Garcia is just to the north, so they're probably getting some swells from this, because the storm does look pretty big. I do need to go to Weather Nerds, so we have an idea of the satellite, because I haven't looked at the satellite, and last time was like 1 p.m. Central Time, so let's take a look at the satellite for Tropical Storm Danilo. So this is the latest satellite for this storm. You can see a lot of convection. You do see a lot of rotation with this system. And then there is Diego Garcia just to its north. So it isn't moving very much, but it is going through a lot of convection, and it is getting bigger and stronger. So swells are going to be, there's going to be a lot of big waves once you get towards, Diego Garcia is the one country that is affecting at the moment. We want to go to windy, so we have an idea of its wave height, because regardless of impact, we know that the waves are still going to be a big problem for this region.
Okay. Let's see how high the waves are right now. Also, what is the latest on Danilo again?
Danilo, the latest is currently it has winds of 45 knots at 11.2 degrees south, 72.6 degrees east, Minimum central pressure is down to 989 millibars.
Okay. The GFS initialized their latest run at 44 knots and 994 millibars. 44 knots, that's not a problem, but 994 millibars is a little bit higher than the current pressure right now. But then in the next frame, they have it dropping to 983 millibars, and then they have it weakening a little bit. Let's see why really quickly.
Interesting.
Taking a look at sounding, there's a little bit of shear. The dry air, the dew points and the actual temperature line kind of separate when we get towards the mid-level, so maybe a little bit of mid-level dry air, but not a overwhelmingly a whole lot amount of it.
So again,
but there's shear in the I guess there's upper level shear.
So it doesn't show a direct impact.
Let me see.
But it does show just off the coast of Mauritius, wave heights being as high as 31 feet.
Wow.
So that is really, really high for that area. So I guess, do you think that would be high enough for storm surge? I guess it would be, right? Maybe.
I don't know. It's probably just very high waves. Like, what are you talking about right now? Like,
I'm just talking
the
about
wave
the
heights
future.
off of Diego Garcia?
Oh, no, I'm talking about Mauritius.
Okay.
This could be the possibility now where the eye wall is, winds would be as high, or waves would be as high as about 40 feet plus. Now Mauritius, right, would be at around 30 feet. Currently off the coast of Diego Garcia, let me go and see how bad it is. It's actually not terribly bad, but where's it at?
The current wave heights?
The current wave heights.
The current wave heights
is about 20 feet, but closer to Diego Garcia, which, fudge, I don't know. There's so many teeny tiny islands up here. Then I guess it's this tiny thing. That's a tiniest little country I've ever seen in my life. It's about 9 to 10. That's about 9 to 10 feet, which is it's still pretty high. 9 to 10 feet. That's pretty.
Yeah, it's still. I guess so.
9 to 10 feet, so it's still pretty rough.
But it seems like the GFS wants to weaken this with 26 knots of shear that then begins affecting the system. And then as we move out in time, 36, 48 hours out, they kind of seem to keep it weak and not strengthening much, which is interesting. And let me see why. I could get a sounding here. So the shear is not necessarily an issue. We do have a little bit of directional shear because the upper level seems to have northerly winds. The mid to upper level seems to have northerly winds, and then the lower level seems to have winds coming from the west to
Are you sure
northeast.
You're looking at the GFS?
Yeah, I'm looking at the GFS. I'm looking at a sounding.
You absolutely sure? Because the 18Z. 18Z. GFS Danilo 08S winds 93.7 knots. Are you sure you're looking at the GFS?
Wait, which are you looking at the 850 millibar winds?
No. Am I?
I'm probably looking at a different a different.
I'm looking at 10 meter wind speed at knots.
Oh, okay. Now I see it. Yeah, okay. I see it now. So it seems like the GFS has some struggles with the storm. It seems to be undergoing at 120 hours out. Let me check what they have, and they seem to have because it seems like this actually goes under shear for a little bit, and the struggles strengthen, but then the GFS has shear fairly high for a little bit. Let me see how it evolves. 10 knots. And then let me see. Let me see how this progresses really quickly. I haven't taken a look at the modeling. Oh, excuse me.
That's right.
And then I'm pretty sure shear's dropping here. Yeah, if the shear's dropping, we have 4 knots now. and then the GFS does make this intensify pretty quickly. So it does seem like there's a little bit of shear at the beginning, but then the shear begins up. Danilo moves into a more favorable environment, and the GFS does bring this down to 952 millibars. So that's pretty intense.
Yeah, it does. If you look at the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, it does show Danilo weakening, strengthening a little bit more up to 50 knots, and then weakening down to 40 knots, and then eventually going through rapid strengthen from 40 to 45 to 55 to 70. So it does show that it weakens to about 45 miles an hour, and then strengthens very quickly up to hurricane force. So.
Let me look at the HWRF to see what they have. I look at the modeling and what they do. So it seems like towards the end of the forecast period, the HWRF does take Danilo to a very intense system. The GFS seems to do it a little bit later. It might be the GFS has more shear. That's at least what I'm analyzing, but it seems to keep the shear longer because at 120 hours out, the GFS seems to want 15 knots of shear, while here, 120 hours out on the HWRF, the shear is 12 knots and the max shear is 18 knots. So I guess roughly around the same amount of shear, but probably let me see the wind directions to get an idea of what shear might be. The wind directions in most of the levels generally seem to be at around the same movement. So there could be a little bit of shear. It's actually at 9 knots as of the 120-hour mark period. So lower shear. That's what it seems to be. Then the GFS, which has 100 knots of shear, that's in a blowaway system. It seems to have around 15 knots. So roughly there seems to be shear forecasting differences on the modeling.
Yeah. The shear right now, I don't think it's too bad, but I think it's going to increase a little bit. And then I already know Sebastian's going to freak out when he sees it's weakening. He's going to be like, what? But he's going to be wondering why it's weakening. But it's going to weaken down. It's going to be down to about 45 miles per hour. And then it's going to strengthen crazy. So it's going to do a little bit more strengthening before it does some weakening. So there's that. Again, it's still uncertain. They still don't exactly know everything exactly that it's going to do, but they do think that it's gonna be bad. So yeah, it's gonna be rough.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't know how the impacts to Mauritius will be right now because it's too far out to even call it a threat, really, because it seems like it's 7 to 10 days away on the modeling. Any impact to Mauritius. So right now it focused on the next 5 days, and it seems like this will be out to sea, causing swells to nearby islands. And going with some issues on the GFS, the HWRF has this becoming stronger a lot sooner than the GFS. There might have to be some shared forecasting differences.
Yeah.
I need to work this out because I need to look at the modeling as a full.
Yeah, but for right now, we don't know 100% what it's gonna do, but we can definitely tell that there's definitely very, very a lot of convection right now, as you can see. But we just gotta wait it out, you know. Just gotta wait.
Yeah.
They're got a bigger idea what we're looking at now, but yeah, we're gonna have to wait for it and wait it out and stuff. But this is the latest update.
Turn on the infrared so I can see what they have as the infrared.
This is the infrared. It's loaded. Oh, look at that burst of convection. Holy crap. like
deep convective activity, but I could tell the sharp gradient of clouds from deep to very warm cloud tops tells me that there's shear that's affecting Danilo right now.
yeah, there is some shear. Are you talking about the darker clouds off to the north up here? Kind of like moving this direction.
I'm talking about the convective bursts that kind of seem to push the clouds eastward. You notice that?
You mean westward?
And then the sharp eastward. You see how we have a convective blow up, and then kind of the cloud area expands eastward.
Oh yeah, I see that. It moves to the right. Yeah.
That's a sign of that. The way that's occurring, that's a sign of shear.
I see. It is gonna go through some shear, so then, I already, Sebastian's gonna be like, it's less today, but we just gotta get through the shear, and then we're gonna have to wait for it to get into those more better conditions. So.
Mm-hmm. I would guess so. All right, so 97p.
Yes, let's talk about that storm. Let me just move to that region first. Invest 97p. So, here's the storm. So
it has a, yeah.
It's in really hot water. Well, earlier today, it was in like 31 degrees centigrade waters. Let's see if that's still the case today. Water was so hot today. It's crazy.
The waters right now in the Australian region are very warm. I'm just waiting for when the Australian region decides to blow up, because it seems like the Australian region is pretty quiet recently, and it hasn't had its first named storm of the season yet.
Yeah, it's true.
But this certainly does look like a tropical cyclone for sure. You can clearly see that there's some sort of turning activity in the cloud tops. You can see there's banding as well. This is a pretty fine and a pretty well-looking tropical system. It's tagged as 97p still, according to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. The Bureau of Meteorology, BOM, the Bureau of Meteorology in Australia has not tagged this yet as a named storm. Not sure if they will tag it at this point, but it certainly does look intense. And if we look at radar, I actually can pull up a radar imagery. Let me see if I can try to find it. I'll send you the link to it.
From the Baru,
I'll send it.
Is it? I think I have it here, but this is one of the ones. But let's see here.
Discord chat. It does show that there's some sort of inner core developing, and there's some sort of inner eye wall formation occurring with this storm. So this does look pretty organized. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there it is. And there's some sort of inner core formation there. A very well defined band as well that's coming on shore. This is a pretty defined system, I must say. So would deserve that. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Joint Typhoon Warning Center tag it overnight, Eastern time, or I wouldn't be surprised if the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, depending on where you are in Australia, they tag it later today, local time there.
Yeah, because I think it's like 11 in the morning their time. I'm not quite exactly sure, but this is the latest.
I think I need to find microwave imagery.
Oh yeah, that would be helpful.
Let me see if I could try to find it.
There's definitely a really big band coming in towards the, I think it's called the Mornington area, and these other areas in the southeast Gulf of the southeast Gulf. I don't know, Australian Gulf. I don't know what it's called, but the southeast Gulf area. There's this big band coming through, and it's gonna produce a lot of heavy rain. So it isn't extremely heavy. It's moderate rainfall. There's moderate rainfall in this area.
All right, I'm gonna send an image of microwave imagery in the chat.
All right, in the chat. Okay, cool.
I mean, this is not an extremely defined core, but you clearly tell there's some sort of banding associated with this. There's a lot of banding with this, actually. Um,
Right.
there seems to be quite a bit of banding with this, that's for sure. Then there's some sort of inner core formation occurring where you see those two bands, those two red spots, and you can kind of see there's a tight center. So that's a signature that this does have a closed low-level center, that's for sure, and that's clear by the satellite imagery where we have clockwise turning, very defined. So this clearly is a tropical cyclone, I would say, but we will have to wait for the designations, of course, to come from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center and the Bureau of Meteorology. Believe they already have this as a depression, but I need to check again. But this does have a defined microwave imagery, pretty organized. There's some banding. Still a little messy, though, with the inner core, but of course, this is a weak system, so we wouldn't expect this to have a very defined inner core.
Yeah, it's very, very weak, but it's getting there. And I think it's going to make landfall. What did you say the next? I think they said 2 a.m. Eastern time, so it's got like, what, 6 hours left? So it doesn't have much time to get its act together. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it has a lot of time. It's getting really close to land. Maybe if it happens to slow down, maybe 6 to 9 hours left before landfall. But it really doesn't have a lot of time left.
I was looking in the chat for some, in a Discord chat that I'm in, for some details, and this does seem to have a nascent inner core. So that's the type of inner core it does currently have, and it's developing. But of course, this does not have too much time left over waters. It's about to head inland.
Yeah. Yeah, this is. Yeah, it doesn't got too much time left, but it does have enough to where it could, intensify to 38 knots, but, or no, yeah, I think it's 38 knots, 36 knots, anyway, 34 knots, sorry. 34 knots, about 40 miles per hour to reach tropical storm force winds. So this has a chance of being named, but this is definitely something we're going to be watching in the next several days or next several hours before it makes landfall. I don't know exactly when it's going to make landfall, but it doesn't have too much time. All right, let's see what the Joint Typhoon Warning Center has to say about this system. It says formation of a significant tropical cyclone is possible within 130 nautical miles either side of a line from 15.9 degrees south, 138.2 degrees east, to 17.6 degrees south, 142.6 degrees east, within the next 12 to 24 hours. So it's got some time still. Available data does not justify issuance of numbered tropical cyclone warnings at this time. Winds in the area are estimated to be 25 to 30 knots. Met Imagery indicates that circulation center is located at 16 degrees south, 138.4 degrees east. The system is moving southeastward at 6 knots, so it's not moving very fast.
I do notice that the Joint Typhoon Warning Center does tell that there's a depictive formative banding associated with that, and that's clearly shown and depicted on the radar, where we have this big arc of storms that are wrapping into the low-level center. That's a pretty defined band, and that seems to be helping and driving the storms organization pretty well. And I think that might be helping it create a closed, tight, low-level center and a formative eye wall as well. As for what we're seeing, a nascent inner core, meaning we're just seeing this inner core coming in.
Yeah. I'm going to see if I can find any warnings for the Queensland area. Holy crap. Sure are a lot.
I don't think there are any warnings right now.
Let's see. Tropical low. Let me just. I can find the forecast track. Oh, here's the I found the forecast track. It says it will be a Category 1 hurricane or cyclone on the I can't think. Category 1 hurricane on the Australian
Category 1 cyclone.
Yeah, cyclone. Ugh, I can't think. So gale, there is a warning zone. Gales within the 24-hour period from Brookstown up through Gilbert River mouth. This city, I can't pronounce the name of it, but and then up there I can't pronounce the name of it, but it does say a Category 1 hurricane or cyclone on the Australian scale is possible. There's light orange, so it doesn't show anything really that intense. But this was 10 a.m. as of January 3rd, so that's where it currently is at. It does show it's going to move over this little island right here, and it could intensify further prior to landfall. I can see if I can find hazards. Category 1. Position 90 kilometers. I'm trying to find the wind speed. It doesn't say. So we got 24 hours left is what it says. Rough weight, I think it would be at its second one. So 18 hours left. 4 a.m. January 4th. So by 4 a.m. January 4th at Australian Eastern Standard Time is when it is expected to make landfall. Okay. A tropical low located just to the northwest of Mornington Island is likely to develop into a tropical cyclone tonight. Areas affected. Warning zone. Mornington Island to Pormparahu. I don't know pronounce that. Oh my god. Now watches. Details.
Pormparawa.
Huh? How do you pronounce it?
Pormparawa. Pormparawa.
Okay.
I think that's how you say it.
That's hard to say. Pormparawa. Sounds like that's an interesting name. Pormparawa. All right. Intensity, tropical low, sustained winds near the center of 55 kilometers an hour with wind gusts up to 85 kilometers an hour. Location, within 20 kilometers of 16.3 degrees south, 139.2 degrees east, 40 kilometers north of Mornington Island, and 220 kilometers northwest of Karamba. Movement southeast at 14 kilometers an hour. The tropical low or cyclone is expected to move towards the east, southeast, and cross the southeast Gulf Coast tonight or early Monday morning. The low remains in a favorable environment to develop into a tropical cyclone tonight, just before landfall. So here are the hazards for the area. Gales extending out to 100 kilometers from the center of the cyclone may develop about coastal and island communities between Mornington Island and Pormparawa tonight. Abnormally high tides and large waves are expected about the southeast Gulf and West Cape York Peninsula as the cyclone approaches the coast. Large waves may produce flooding along the foreshore. Heavy rainfall that is likely to lead to flash flooding. Flooding of low-lying areas and riverine flooding will develop about the southeast Gulf of Carpentaria coast and adjacent inland later today. Heavy rainfall will spread to remaining areas of the southern Cape New York Peninsula on the Gulf country on Monday as the low or tropical cyclone moves onto the coast and further inland. Separate severe weather warning has been issued for the further heavy rainfall and damaging wind gusts elsewhere. Med-Eye, what's this? View the current warnings for Australia. Right, so it's still a tropical low. It's not considered like a depression yet, I don't think. So, okay.
Kilometers, so yeah. So this might still have some time over land, over water to strengthen before it does make landfall early in the morning tomorrow, local time there.
Right.
And they are expecting it to become a Category 1 cyclone. And the way it does look like this could maybe become a little bit of an intense system as well, moving into area. So keep on watch for, of course, abnormally high tides, bands of rain, of course, all those hazards that you usually see in a cyclone coming on shore.
Correct.
Keep in mind of those.
So they, oh wow, it actually shows the wind's getting kind of strong. Oh, okay. I said strong. Okay, 45 knots. I thought it was going to be like 60 knots or something. But it does say winds will be excess of 45 knots in this region, which is about 50 miles per hour, according to the, according to, Australian government. So, Bureau of Meteorology. So Monday, January 4th, 2021 at 000 UTC. So 24 hours from now, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time is when it shows it'll make landfall with winds at around 45 knots, about 50 miles per hour. Or this would be at around, what is it? Man, I wish I had miles per hour, but it's fine. It's like 50 miles an hour. So 50-mile-an-hour winds is what they are showing for this region at around 70 knots. So rainfall forecasts.
Actually, the HWRF does actually have this becoming a hurricane force strength cyclone on the Saffir-Simpson scale. In the very short time it does have time to strengthen. Seems like it's going to use that time well and strengthen pretty quickly.
Wow. But they are showing 75 to 90% chance of rain for this region. Well, it's obviously going to be 100%. That's I mean it's raining there right now, but it's pretty crazy. Rainfall in 3 hours in millimeters. Okay, so they are showing 10 to 20 millimeters of rainfall in some areas within a 3-hour period. So there's definitely going to be some rain falling. That's for sure.
There will be rainfall as well. That's the usual hazard we have in a tropical cyclone.
Yes, indeed. So that's heavy rainfall is something I'm a little, worried about. Now when it comes to wave swells, oh shit, I mean not even that much. Oh my god. When it comes to wave swells, they could be dealing with 3 to 5 meter waves. Holy shit! Sorry, that's really high. 3 to 5 meters. Because I know 1 meter is 3 feet. I mean 1 meter is 3 feet.
So 9 to 15 foot waves.
Oh, that's actually kind of big. That's really, kind of high. For like a tropical storm with 50-mile-an-hour winds, 15-foot waves. Holy crap. Wow.
I mean, the shape of the bay this is coming in at, so.
Yeah, it has kind of come down to a point. You are right about that. Okay, we don't care about temperature. Temperature doesn't tell us anything unless it's water temperature. But yeah, definitely the storm is going to bring heavy winds and heavy rain and heavy heavy rain, heavy winds, heavy wind, rain, and some storm surges possible. So that's something we're gonna have to watch out for here in the coming days. So, anything else you wanna say or anything?
No, I guess that's it.
That's gonna be it. We're going to leave it off here. I might see you at 2 a.m. Eastern time, depending if I want to wake up at that time and come in here. But there's a chance I might wake up and just decide to walk right on in here. And but this is the latest satellite imagery, so you can really see the center of circulation over that region. So it is very very intense. So this is gonna be it. We're gonna talk to y'all. I will be talking. Should I? Yeah, I'm probably gonna end it off here. I don't think I'm gonna like keep it running or anything. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I'll talk to you guys at 1 a.m. Eastern time, or 1 a.m. Central time, 2 a.m. Eastern time. And with all that being said, have a wonderful rest of your evening, and peace out.